All right, so get this. We're diving deep into Nazis, Atlantis, ancient texts, and modern-day Antarctica.
Oh, wow. That's quite a mix.
It's like Indiana Jones meets the X-Files. We're talking about hidden history, advanced technology, secret expeditions. It's going to get wild.
Sounds like it. And what kind of material are we looking at today?
We've got excerpts from a lecture that tries to connect these seemingly unrelated topics.
Okay, so what's the main thread that ties this all together?
It seems to be this idea that there's a hidden history, a history more science fiction than fiction, suggesting potential connections between ancient myths and advanced technology.
And how does Antarctica fit into all of this?
That's the big question, isn't it? Is there really a connection between Nazi expeditions to Antarctica, ancient Mesopotamian texts, and all those mysterious trips high-ranking officials have been making to the South Pole?
Let's start with those Nazi expeditions first. What do we know about those?
Well, there was this German expedition to Antarctica back in 1938 and 39.
38 and 39.
And it was led by this unlikely duo.
Unlikely. How so?
You've got Hermann Goering, a high-ranking Nazi official, very practical and technology-focused.
Right.
And then you've got Rudolf Hess Hitler's deputy, who was heavily into the occult.
Huh. That is an odd pairing. Why would those two collaborate on an expedition to Antarctica?
That's what makes it so intriguing, right? It's like, what's the common ground there? What were they really after?
Maybe it has something to do with this world ice theory.
World ice theory. What's that?
It was this fringe belief held by some Nazis, including Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS.
Oh, wow. So this was like a core Nazi belief.
Not exactly core, but definitely influential.
Yeah.
It basically claimed that the Earth was once entirely encased in ice.
Entirely?
Yeah, and that the continents we know today were formed by the retreat of this ice.
So they believed that everything was ice and then it all melted away, and that's how we got the continents as we know them.
Right, and while it's not scientifically accepted, it might have fueled their interest in Antarctica.
I mean, if you think about it, Antarctica is like this massive ice sheet covering a whole continent.
Exactly. It fits right into that world ice theory narrative.
So we've got Nazis potentially looking for something in Antarctica, maybe influenced by this wild ice theory.
Right.
But then fast forward a few years to 1947.
No.
You've got Admiral Byrd's Operation High Jump.
Operation High Jump, right?
Now, he returns early from this expedition and gives this cryptic interview hinting at advanced enemy fighters.
Enemy fighters. Now, that's interesting. What did he say about them?
He talked about fighters capable of flying from pole to pole with incredible speed.
From pole to pole.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty advanced technology, especially for 1947.
Right. It fuels a lot of speculation about what he actually encountered down there.
What if we look at Antarctica itself? I mean, it's a continent completely covered in ice.
Yeah.
It kind of fits some descriptions of Atlantis, wouldn't you say?
Hold on. Are you suggesting that Antarctica could be Atlantis?
I'm not saying it is definitively IS, but it's a possibility, right? And the details about what the Nazi expedition actually found are pretty scarce.
Yeah. It's like whatever they found down there, it's shrouded in mystery.
Imagine if they discovered something groundbreaking, something so significant it was immediately classified.
That would certainly explain the lack of information.
And then we had the Hermetica, this collection of texts thought to contain ancient Egyptian wisdom.
Oh, yeah, the Hermetic. I've heard of those. Weren't they considered forgeries for a long time?
For centuries, scholars believed they were written during the Roman era.
So they thought they were fakes, basically.
Right, but recent research suggests that some of the core ideas in the Hermetica might actually date back much further.
Much further? Like how far back are we talking?
Potentially to a very early period in Egyptian history.
Wow. So they might actually hold genuine ancient wisdom.
It's definitely a possibility.
Okay, so we've got these potentially ancient texts talking about who knows what, and we've got the Nazis poking around into Antarctica, possibly looking for evidence of Atlantis or some kind of advanced technology.
And don't forget Himmler and his fascination with the occult.
Oh, yeah, Himmler and his Ancestral Research Bureau. What was it called again?
The Honor Bee, which translates to ancestral heritage.
The Honor Bee. They were researching the occult for possible military applications, right?
Exactly. They were looking for ways to weaponize ancient knowledge.
That's a little unnerving to think about, isn't it?
It is. It makes you wonder what other secrets could be hiding in plain sight within archaeology myths and historical records.
Like, what if we've been misinterpreting these ancient stories all along?
What if they're not just stories, but blueprints or warnings from the past?
Okay, so we've got the Nazis, we've got the Hermetica. What about these ancient Mesopotamian texts you mentioned?
Ah, yes. Let's talk about the Epic of Nergal.
The Epic of Nergal. What's that all about?
Well, it's not your typical epic story full of heroes and monsters. It reads more like an inventory of powerful technology.
An inventory, like a shopping list.
Kind of. It's a list of weapons and artifacts collected after a war.
And what kind of artifacts are we talking about?
Some of these items were supposedly so powerful they were impossible to destroy.
Impossible to destroy. What does that even mean?
We can only speculate, but it suggests technology far beyond anything we can comprehend.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
The text suggests a war between gods who possessed this advanced technology.
Gods with advanced technology. Now that sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
Right. And here's where it gets really interesting. Could this be linked to the Atlantis myth? Could there be a real cache of this ancient weaponry hidden somewhere?
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. We've got potential connections between ancient texts, Nazi expeditions, and maybe even a lost civilization with advanced tech. So you're saying they could be looking for remnants of this ancient civilization in Antarctica?
It's a possibility.
And what about this exploded planet hypothesis I've heard about?
Ah, yes, that's another piece of the puzzle.
Fill me in.
The exploded planet hypothesis proposes that the asteroid belt might actually be the remains of a planet that was destroyed a long time ago.
A whole planet destroyed.
Now tie that into those ancient myths about wars between gods.
You mean like those stories found in cultures all over the world about battles in the heavens and powerful deities wielding incredible weapons?
Exactly. What if those stories aren't just myths, but descriptions of a real interplanetary conflict?
A conflict that destroyed an entire planet.
And what if it wasn't just any conflict, but a civil war?
A civil war between factions of a technologically advanced society.
A society that ultimately caused its own destruction.
That's a pretty heavy thought.
It is. It suggests that even with advanced technology, civilizations can still self-destruct.
So maybe these myths are warnings from the past trying to tell us to be careful with our own technology.
It's certainly a possibility.
And if that's the case, what can we learn from these potential past mistakes?
That's what we'll be exploring as we continue this deep dive.
All right, I'm ready to keep digging. I want to know more about this lost civilization, their technology, and what really happened to them.
Let's get into it then. There's a lot more to uncover.
Wow. My head is spinning after all those wild theories and connections. We've covered so much ground already, from potential ancient wars to suppressed knowledge. It's a lot to process.
It is, but that's what's so fascinating about these deep dives. They make us reconsider our assumptions, broaden our perspectives and really question everything we thought we knew.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that keeps coming back to me is that idea of cyclical history, civilizations rising and falling, maybe even repeating the same mistakes. If this advanced civilization did exist and if they did self-destruct, what can we learn from them?
That's the big question, isn't it? The most crucial question, I think one of the most important lessons, is the need for balance.
Balance. Okay, I like that. What kind of balance are we talking about here?
A balance between technological advancement and ethical development, between individual ambition and the common good, between the pursuit of knowledge and the wisdom to use it responsibly. It's not just about progress for progress's sake.
Right. It's about progress with purpose. Progress that benefits humanity as a whole.
Exactly. And perhaps the downfall of these hypothetical past civilizations wasn't just about the technology itself.
So it wasn't just that they had powerful technology.
No, it was their inability to wield it wisely.
They lacked the wisdom, the ethical framework to manage it responsibly.
Precisely. And we can see echoes of that in our own society.
Oh, really? How so?
Think about the rapid evolution of technology. Artificial intelligence, genetic engineering. We're on the brink of extraordinary breakthroughs, but also facing risks we've never encountered before.
It's like we're sprinting towards the future without really understanding the potential consequences.
And that's where those ancient myths and legends can be so valuable.
You mean like the stories about gods and monsters and lost civilizations?
Yes, those stories. They remind us that knowledge without wisdom can be a dangerous thing, that unchecked power can corrupt, and that the pursuit of progress without ethical considerations can lead to destruction.
So they're like cautionary tales whispered across the ages.
Exactly. Warnings from the past urging us to be careful to proceed with wisdom.
So how do we find that balance? How do we learn from the past and avoid repeating those same mistakes?
There's no easy answer, but I believe it begins with awareness. Recognizing historical patterns, understanding the dangers of unchecked ambition, and integrating ethical considerations into everything we do.
So it's about being mindful of the potential consequences of our actions.
Yeah, maybe approaching it all with a bit of humility.
Humility.
Yeah.
I like that. Recognizing that we don't have all the answers that we can learn from the past.
Exactly. We need to proceed cautiously as we explore the unknown.
This whole deep dive has been a real learning experience, and you've given us a lot to think about. But there's one last nagging question.
Okay, what is it?
If powerful forces are still looking for this lost technology, as our sources suggest, what are their intentions? Are they trying to use it for good, or could this be something more sinister?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And only time will tell. But it highlights the importance of staying informed, thinking critically, and taking action.
So we can't just sit back and wait to see what
No,
happens.
we need to engage with these issues, ask difficult questions, demand transparency, and hold those in power accountable.
You've given us a lot to ponder today, but I have a feeling this deep dive has only just begun. What if these seemingly crazy connections are real? What if we're on the verge of uncovering a history far more advanced and potentially dangerous than we ever imagined?
And what does it mean for us right now if these powerful forces are actively searching for this lost technology?
Those are questions you'll have to grapple with yourself. Keep researching and think critically about the information you encounter.
Remember, the pursuit of knowledge is an ongoing journey, not a destination. And it's a journey best taken with an open mind, a healthy dose of skepticism, and a commitment to seeking the truth.
All right, so we've touched upon the potential dangers of rediscovering lost technology, the idea of cyclical history, and the motives of those who might be seeking this knowledge. But let's shift gears for a moment and dive deeper into one of the texts you mentioned earlier, the Epic of Nergal. What makes it so significant in this whole puzzle?
Well, the Epic of Nergal isn't your typical narrative like the Iliad or the Odyssey.
Right, it's not a story about heroes and monsters and epic battles.
It reads more like a meticulous inventory of powerful artifacts and weapons, like a detailed catalog of ancient technology.
So it's not about the story itself, but about what's being described within the text. That's pretty unusual, isn't it?
Exactly. It suggests a deliberate effort to record this knowledge, perhaps as a warning to future generations or as a guide to rediscovering this lost power.
Okay, that's fascinating. So what kind of technology are we talking about? Can you give us some examples from the Epic of Nergal?
While the text is open to interpretation, there are descriptions of weapons that sound like they could have been ripped from the pages of science fiction.
Like what?
There's mention of a fiery chariot that could traverse the skies and a stone that whispers secrets, capable of amplifying thoughts.
Wait a minute, are we talking about something akin to flying machines and advanced communication devices thousands of years ago?
It's certainly a possibility. And remember, this is just one text. Imagine what other secrets might be hidden within ancient texts from other cultures.
Okay, but what does this have to do with Atlantis and those modern-day trips to Antarctica? Is there a connection?
The Epic of Nergal hints at a war between gods, a war fought with unimaginable technology. Now consider the myth of Atlantis, a technologically advanced civilization that was supposedly destroyed in a cataclysmic event. What if these two stories are describing the same event, perhaps from different perspectives?
Are you saying that the war described in the Epic of Nergal could be the same war that destroyed Atlantis, and that modern-day interest in Antarctica could be linked to the search for remnants of this lost technology?
It's a bold claim, but the connections are intriguing. And consider the secrecy surrounding those trips to Antarctica. What if they're not just about climate change or religious ceremonies, but about something far more significant?
This is getting pretty wild. So let's say for a moment that these connections are real. What does that mean for us? What are the implications of rediscovering this ancient technology?
That's a question that deserves careful consideration. On one hand, it could represent a leap forward for humanity. Imagine the possibilities if we could harness this technology for peaceful purposes, for advancements in energy medicine communication.
That sounds incredible. But I imagine there's a flip side to this, right?
There's always a flip side. Imagine this technology falling into the wrong hands, being used for destructive purposes for creating weapons of unimaginable power.
That's a terrifying thought.
It is, and it underscores the importance of approaching this with caution, with wisdom, and with a sense of responsibility.
So it's not just about finding this technology, but about understanding its implications and ensuring it's used for the benefit of humanity.
Precisely. We need to consider the ethical implications of rediscovering this lost knowledge.
It's like opening Pandora's box. Once we uncover these secrets, there's no going back.
That's a great analogy. We need to proceed with caution, with wisdom, and with a deep understanding of the potential consequences.
This deep dive has taken us into some uncharted territory, exploring connections between ancient texts, myths, and modern-day mysteries. It's truly mind-boggling.
And we've only just begun to scratch the surface. There's still so much more to explore, so many more questions to ask.
I think that's a great point to pause for now.
I agree. Let's take a moment to reflect on all this and come back for the final part of our exploration, There's still much more to unravel.
All right, so we've really gone deep into this rabbit hole, haven't we? From Nazis in Antarctica to ancient Mesopotamian texts, from the Hermetica to the exploded planet hypothesis.
It's been quite the journey. But it all seems to point to this idea that maybe we're not alone in the universe, that maybe there were other civilizations out there long before us.
And that those civilizations might have possessed advanced technology that could be both beneficial and incredibly dangerous.
And if those ancient myths are indeed warnings from the past, encoded with wisdom from these lost civilizations.
Then we'd be wise to listen, wouldn't we?
Absolutely. We need to learn from their mistakes, avoid repeating history.
Okay, but how do we apply these ancient lessons to our modern world? It's not like we can just stop technological progress altogether.
No, of course not. Progress is inevitable, and it can be a good thing. But we can't just blindly chase advancement without considering the ethical implications, the potential consequences.
So it's not about halting progress, but about steering it in the right direction.
Exactly. It's about progress with purpose. Progress that benefits humanity as a whole without leading to our own self-destruction.
It's like we need a course correction for civilization.
Precisely. We need to cultivate wisdom, compassion, and a deep understanding of interconnectedness alongside our technological advancements.
So it's not just about evolving technologically, but ethically and spiritually as well.
Exactly. And those ancient myths, they offer a roadmap, a guide to navigate the challenges of wielding immense power and knowledge.
This whole deep dive has been a real wake-up call for me. It's made me realize that history isn't just a bunch of old stories, but a living, breathing source of wisdom.
It's a guidebook for the future if we know how to read it.
It's amazing to think that we can learn so much from those who came before us.
Their triumphs and their failures can teach us valuable lessons.
This deep dive has been a real journey, through time uncovering hidden connections and grappling with some pretty mind-blowing ideas.
It's been fascinating, hasn't it?
And a little bit unsettling at times.
That's understandable. It's natural to feel that way when confronted with the unknown, with the potential for both great progress and catastrophic destruction.
But I think you're right. We need to face these challenges head-on with open minds and a commitment to wisdom.
We need to keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop seeking knowledge.
Well said. This deep dive has given us a lot to think about, and I hope everyone listening will continue to explore these mysteries.
Remember, the pursuit of truth is a journey, not a destination.
And it's a journey we need to take together if we want to create a better future for ourselves and for generations to come.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for this deep dive.
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of ground, but there's always more to explore, isn't there?
Absolutely. The mysteries never end.
Well, to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the unknown.